that good in a lot of matchups. I don't know why. It's just like a personal thing. They just don't feel that useful. And your late game is like overall okay. The overall solid like okay, like solid maximum. You know what I mean? So the civilization just ends up feeling like I don't know what the win condition is with Incas anymore. I think like I've tried some certain like strategies and whatnot that feel okay, but nothing feels amazing. What I will say is like the best way to play the Civ is just like men at arm skirm. There's a lot of men at arm and skirmishers that you get discounts on, which feels okay. But again, the discount the skirmisher is a food discount, and the skirmisher costs mostly wood. So the discount that the Koreans get is much better. So yeah, I think just for a variety of reasons just don't feel that good anymore. But I still think we have good options throughout the game, like skirm still being cheap and Hammy being strong, that they deserve to be at a decent category. They're targeting they know we're higher. Right. Next I'm going to jump to B tier. Let's end of the C tier. Again, mostly the slow and aggressive meta. The last of like the slow sieves, you've got the Burgundian. Legit the last of the slow sieves. Every other sieve is fast sieve. So Burgundians the slow sieves. The reason I talk about slow sieves is fast sieves. Like Burgundians you get like a mid-axe, Dark Age, you get bow saw, Seal Age, pay a lot of features early, you get more features over time, so it's a slow to develop civ. But the one reason why Burgundians are actually high up the list compared to the others is the Flemish militia that now come out of the barracks. They don't count as like a light militia because they don't do bonus damage from skirm. It's a big win for the Flemish militia, which means that you can kill Flemish militia and you can defend. Men at arms skirm rush effectively, very effectively. Defend scout rushes very effectively. You can pressure with the Flemish militia, they're very cheap, easy to spam. And so that unit kind of carries Burgundians in the early game. And their mid game is fantastic. Chevalier, Cavalier, fast Paladin, and you have relics that give you both food and footing. A lot of really good options for the Burgundians in the mid game. And the early game is now buffered to the Flemish militia. Honestly, now that I'm talking about it, it might have been higher than E tier. But just to play it safe, I feel like E tier, it's a solid civ, it still has weaknesses, and still die from meta arm rush easily. For whatever reason, the Flemish militia don't defend you enough. I feel like overall the civ is pretty good and does more things well than has weaknesses. Since then, the jar of camel, first of all, the berries, the 2 berries to start with now get more fruit, which is nice. Helps you enter the game. If you're on the map, it's not a reference. That you no longer have situations with your jaras where you have chicken, you don't have enough food. Now you can just look at the food, lure those in, your early game is solid. And the biggest change with the Gujaras is the fact that the Camel Scout gets an extra attack in early games. Like you're starting village gets an extra attack, goes from 4 attack to 5 attack. You stick to 5 attack, standard HP, and it's obviously a camel, which is insane. It's going to damage to the scout. And then you can train them to stay at a very fast rate now. So the Camel Scouts can actually come up the game next. Now I don't think it's going to go Camel Scouts but when you can open the Scout, you can go for it. Then you can actually take gold and you can pass the HP all the way up. You start massing Camel Scouts very easily. You can mass 4 or 5. Actually, you can pass it like 8 or 9. Once they so you can really get good value out of the Camel Scouts now. Especially in early passage, because you have 4 or 5 plus camels right out the gate. Camel Scouts versus Camel Riders in passage directly. And so the Gujaras end up feeling really good after those buffs. So it was the worst civ, or one of the worst civs in the last patch, and since then its win rate has gone up, and in my opinion, my ability to win up and down, the viable case is up. You got Maggers, beginner friendly, you just go scouts, you have 2 bonuses stacked for scouts, the best thing in India. It's really so it's not high enough, but it has no equal bonus. But if you still get scouts into arch, or like scouts to double stage, like power skill work, you get most of your games done. Like cheap scouts that also get the attack, that's pretty insane double bonus. And feel like the Magyar that was actually one of the hardest things that so for that reason I feel like it definitely gets high spot. But it gets a little bit held back from the other reasons. Overall it feels fine. Next up is Divisions, again one of the worst lives in the past tier list, but now it ends up being a really solid civilization. It's a civilization that is just doing a lot of men arms for cheap. So, your late game is now quite respectable. Elder Archers did get a nice change as well. They cost less food, more gold. They're easier to get, or vice versa. It's hard to say, but I think there's some change there that I remember being favored for the Elder Archer. I think it was a favorable change for one today it being a pretty solid overall system. Now it's on Elder Archers. Late game, Elder Archers in general did get better. Standard Valor Elephants also got a little bit better as well. So overall, I think probably best opening and skirms. They can also just go for a spear scrim forward, or you can open skirms forward. That's the options. Mostly probably skirm. That's not a bad thing. It's meta at the moment. Why not? Next one, Ethiopians, one of my favorite artists. Really solid, like power spikes throughout the game. Insane late game. The whole the fact that you're getting there's just like extended healing, or like extended passion. You end up being once that power spike comes out, then you're narrative. And Black Bloodlines, so like extended pass and tribulation not great. You're dying yourself, but then so you end up marvelous line. We can a little obvious. Overall though, it's still a really good civ, and like archery. Next thing else, I love the civ. I think the War Raiders got to the next level by the way. The War Elephant. I'm pretty sure the War Elephant can pass the attack of this. Paladin is 14 basic attack. The War Raider has 15. The War Raider is actually insane. I think it's strong improvement, and it feels like the good game plan to just wake up to do that. And then the Celts early game to play like Meta Arms, pass Meta Arms game to play, Rush, but often that's so good. So I think Celts can kind of get by. Get to like Archer Stern, get the wood bonus, and Siege is really solid, and then kind of get more better. Next up, the aspects. I think the Civ is again not as good as it once was, but it's okay. Better features have relevant check. I think the assets basically let play a solid early game and get either Eagle Warrior, or the Jaguar Warrior. I think the Jaguar Warrior is really solid out of attack. It's genuinely a good speaking of attack, I was talking to the tell the Jaguar Warrior looks like 20 something attack. 28, is that right? It's like 28 attack. No, I think it's less than 20, I think it's 24 attack, but still ends up being absolutely insane. So Jaguar Warrior is really solid. The assets in general are decent, but I think it just suffers from the general mesolarp problems, and its late game is, if you don't get relics, late game is a bit subpar. But the skirmish is nice, yes, the Cloud of skirmish, so yeah, it's a decent civ overall, and not much we can say about it. Next we got the Franks. I love the civ. It was up to me after the S+, and I just think it's such a cutter civ. Scouts, nice, paladin, it's so nice. And the growing assets got a huge buff, by the way. Franks is actually getting bought at the moment. It's hard to put it higher than this though, just because I feel like it always suffers from the same problems as the slab do, which is like trading it can be a bit tricky. But the Franks do get access to him, get there, and all better than something that slab don't get. Well, of course you don't get armor, you don't get wave strength. You don't even get last armor for this turn. You have to get off archer. You at least get one with them, which lets you kind of survive. And there's like archers. And everything paladin, strength paladin, under 90 speed, it's insane, really strong unit. And then throwing axe, you've got triple blocking, they're like faster to produce, cheaper to get to, and their bearded axe upgrade now gets plus. So in total, this throwing axe is sorry, which is nice. 6 range is better than 5 range. It basically lets you kind of mirror the range. Like, it's a 3 with no range. So it's not the most amount of range, but it's not bad. It's 1 off your 10%. Which is it's a lot better than 5 range. So it's kind of like your main anti-halb skirm prompt, anti-trash prompt. And on top of that, how you champion love with them. Overall feels good. But it just doesn't really make special. Why? Next we've got the Japanese. I actually love this thing now. It's a video. It's called like Fear of the Log of Genius. That was past, like, that was a few years ago. It's not like I was young, I was just I'm always thinking. But yeah, Japanese. I like this thing a lot now. Their meta arm rush is insane. It's really strong. The Patreon build I have for the Japanese, well, you can like easily don't tell anyone I said this, but I'm gonna try to come up with a build that lets Japanese do the meta arm rush really fast. So he has an intention meta arm rush that you can barely afford with a good build, and yes, you can that with very little. Sounds good in theory. Japanese play chicken maps really well. Cost less wood. You can play chicken better than other people. So that's why I'm kind of pretty confident that the safety for the Chinese land of games. But we'll see. But besides that, I think Japanese are good sim. Really nice amateurs. Arbalest, Racer, all the upgrades, you've got nice powers. It's pretty good. You're just lacking standard stuff like that. And that's probably the weakest of the Civ, to be honest. I think the Civ's like okay. It's like it has a really good execution rush, and it went from like OP in the last patch to kind of like OP now because they now only get 55 with the ability to get 65, which I know is good, but like you can feel it. So I will say it's snowballing and I think its best quality now is the Jansword unchanged. The Jansword is still like a really good option. But besides that, the crew doesn't feel like it has to be. However, the Jansword gives a really good option to archers and basically shuts down sledges like mine. You don't really have a two counters. Jansword at any point in the game. Yeah, the crew ends up feeling like an archer counter. But it just feels like it's nothing too special as the game goes on, and yeah, nothing. First tips for this list, with Italians, standard, solid, good stuff. Nothing to much time on it. It's really nice bonus in the early game, but at the cost of slightly weak religion, you'll lack text like race or whatnot. But actually, the value is really good right now, like 5%. So hey, maybe it's just above your strong I just put it in B tier just because I feel like if you're not able to win in past lich, and if your archer play is really going in, I think the Civ can feel pretty well. The link stages. But even with that, I think it's a really good Civ. And yeah, I consider it a very, very, very solid, straight up link Civ. So, Jack of all trades, master done type thing. And I think the balance. If you get a nice advantage, snowballing, if you don't get ahead, then it can feel good. Next up, look at our minion itself, like top here. This Civ, I don't really have a good explanation for why, but I think I would never do this Civ, honestly. Like, the Civ, the economy bonus on it is absurd. You get so far ahead just by getting upgrades to your new card. It's ridiculously good at our minions. You're just working with so much extra value. And on top of that, I think working with smart base and relics, so you can get the best back on you against minions. And it doesn't die so hard as skirmish, which is really important. Skirm that I guess is the only two things that like your siege games are really good. Besides that, you get CA. It's already been a galley situation. You get knights, you get CA, you pass this first through. So they get us good options. So I think the system just feels like it's really strong. It's easy to win it. But the reason why it's not higher up is that it just does lack certain options like custom armor and tabs that other things that I mentioned. So it doesn't feel like it's overpowered, again, in any real way. You still trying to get ahead and you have to end the game fast. The late game can be sometimes good off. That's the way I feel. Alright, now we're getting to the highest tier civilizations. Cars are the first strong zip. Cars will always be a but the more hills there are, the better the cars get. And right now there's a lot of hills here. The cars will a lot stronger because of that. And I think they're a bit above some of the sibs just because, I think they just get to, like, their good units faster. Scouts, CAs, scouts, knights, they have really good late game. They have a pretty good economy with your sheep lasting longer, which really helps once you get a major country. Just get a little bit of experience your opponents who maybe struggle and they might be there's a video I made where I actually went up to past games without making a farm with the card. The title was Why We Should But still, it's very viable cards. So yeah, it's good in general. The more that you are, the better cards right now. I don't care. I know it's the objective service, but I think objectively polls are really good. I just think they're hard to play with low. That win rate kind of is at 90 plus, if I'm not mistaken. Good but I think this is the time in history, very few times where I can say you're all wrong and I'm right. Like I'm just naming down 1,000 people and 1,000 people are wrong and I'm right. I agree. That would be better because here's the thing. You get a really good house rank with your full one mark. You're only in but if you survive the two days, you get 10% feedback instead of 8% last time. Now, there's a lot of debate around this, that much. It's only 2%. Yeah, it's 2%. But using the numbers and the polls that come out with, the polls are pretty very strong. Alright? And since then, you've got some additional buffs that what counts as the house. And now you make a full work and get back to the front wood and counts the house. Right? You don't get back to the front wood, but it counts the house, so you can save the house, which does help. And on top of that, your bloodline, light path, and these are upgrades. Awesome. So, you're stacking so many bonuses towards farming mental luck stuff. Get to like stone, house, scout power, you're stacking 4 or 5 bonuses all together. It's insane. It's insane. So strong. Notice that you can stack 4 or 5 bonuses. And just try it out for yourself. You can be up to like 3,000 within like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And this is not get you ours. And you can find that with a really strong unit, scouts can get additional upgrades and additional bonuses. So yeah, I should suggest just looking at that option is going to be very good. And if you get early game, if you just power up with this smart communication goes correctly, as you can pull from those, they are clearly objectively really as you can mitigate that little bit, pass the response while taking the ball up again. And I think you get the late game polls the best late game tip on Arabia. I can't think of another set that beats them if they're equal footing in late game. I think that the polls, strong farms, the good things are, they get trample damage. It's just really hard to do that. You need a strong wall, and you're pushing like how heavy CA like aggro's. Like that's the way you don't have that. So yeah, it's a lot of talk with polls, but it's a bit of a controversial one, so I wanted to spend it before the comments start. But again, feel free to debate me in the comments, and maybe I'll get someone to debate me in a future video about it. Who knows? Maybe depends if people agree with me or not. It's definitely disagree because the stats don't support both. Next we got the Berbers. This even is Arabia. Like you play defensive early game, you try to wall up, and then Cassius comes in and you get discount all South line, Camel line, Night line. Perfect. The other Cassius, you also get Janitors, really strong skirm, Mountain skirm basically, and you get Racer, and Wombat Cannon, you get Cavalry Archers and Camel Archers. You get Racer, Armor, you get options, and Missionaries. Again, but I think the Berbers can now defend a little bit and the Janitors are a really strong unit. They got buffed from Africa. The Janitor like they push back all kinds of archers, right? They want to work them. So yeah, I think the Berbers are in a good spot right now. I think it's definitely a significant environment for Arabia. And then a lot of the other archer / CA base hits that we also get under that. And to pick up the Lithuanians, I should say guys, really strong civ in terms of the scout script play, really good early game and arms and stuff. And on top of that, an instant rush, which on chicken maps is really good. So the Lithuanians actually have a lot of options. And I think Lithuanians gives me a good ability to play an aggressive free range, get the passing, and try to make it up. Added counter, you get counter, which can kind of balance things out with all that. It's a little awkward for all your resources into testing the relic, but if you're in Arabia, I think just use it at 20, and then just go the rest of your resources going to getting the relics, and usually a 2-piece setup ends up being a very good way to get damage. And Lithuanians early in is actually pretty good. Look at Marvelous, you get fast skirm. You get like skirm, Wombat coming out with it, and that gives a lot of like Marvelous and Iron Chomp. So early in, Lithuanians ends up being pretty good. Next up we got the Italians, and the Italians are the same as the moment. You get extra armor, that's match, your archers, and then Artilleros, we have the 8. So that kind of just like in general, I would just talk about like they're just a good stick in Arabia. But that buff to the archer, I think, just kind of like makes them better. They're already good at it. So I don't know, I think the Italians just scouts, archers, infantry, everything they want to do. And wide open. Kind of feels like Valiant, actually. They just have a lot of options open to them. But the fact is better than the Valiant. That's why I go to Thailand. Because their similar civs, how they function, I a bit more points. You get extra armor on archers, you get like something bonuses, you can add them all together. I feel like you're getting something that heavy. Next up, we got the Romans. Romans are a really good civ actually, especially for beginners. I'm sorry to like dangle it funny good by this, but it's an insane civ. Like it gets a 5% boost on all economies, basically, and Nova. Like your village is just 5% more efficient. Congratulations, great bonus. Meta armor is fantastic. The extra armor on it, and the 6 and very below. You get a high rate that comes up, and I just feel like the civ is the best of the civs that just want to scrap the block. And the main reason for that is the cheaper score. I did get nerfed in the last patch. It was just a 10% nerf, and on the gold discount. But these Scorpions anyway, they're still in that position now, right? It's not changed. But the Romans, they're starting like 10%. But yeah, the Romans end up being like a good civ at scrapping. If you're going Scorpions before, you're still okay with more than now, the 10% extra gold doesn't matter that much. And I just feel like it's a civ that it just does fighting in early game. It's very efficient because you have really strong armor behind it, and you have really good options for your units in tanking. Scorpions, knights, archers, whatever, everything's there. Just nothing. So like the passage, everything else is there. And yeah, it actually just feels like it's good for the most part. Australia's weapon awkward situation. That's the biggest problem. But I think its bonuses are strong enough where you get by without having to rely on your league. Very similar to Viking. It's very similar since it's a bad late game. You get so far ahead of the game that it shouldn't matter. Viking gets a strong quantity of relationships. Just play with remember. If your link is bad, it doesn't matter. You're able to push from there. That's the idea, right? So it seems like what Vikings is able to push and have protection. Downside thing, like you don't get access to bloodlines, you don't get access to like they get strong cavalry again, you know, like but if you go for like archers, attacks with arbalist play, you can have a lot of success with Vikings, and you think their berserker switching capacity is pretty legit as well. So you have a lot of really big strategic Vikings and you can play cavalry as a siege sniping like utility rather than like the arms based strategy. So with that in mind, also open scouting farm up to the faster. Scout open again, you can find the scouts for archers on my Patreon. I just have so many good things there, it's hard not to shout it out. And last thing, Georgians, scout opening. Scout opening. The Georgians, a lot of things. The Georgians are the best, I think, at building something that hits hard in early game. Right? The scouts don't hit that hard. The strategies that hit harder are like meta arms or tower rush. So those are like the two strategies that the Georgians excel at. So if you do that in tradition, Georgians can excel. The reason why I think the rate of scouting, or at least scouts
Get you out, get you
scouts really matter if you don't have much healing. Cavalry does matter for CA, United, etc. So other stuff, privilege, for example, like meta arms, blood pressure, power rush potential. Alright, top tier.
Get you ours.
The thing that has no competitor, the S plus, it legit feels unfair playing against it. Like, generally, it feels like you're losing and it's not your fault. Top tier, do something in the game. Right? They're just the best in the game. The first topic is good. Now, this I lied earlier, I said this is no slow steps. This is slow steps. However, they pick up pace really fast. However, with their skirmishers, their spearmen, their camels, they all get discounted. The more they trade it, the better they are. Because they're trading cheap units, they're expensive units. Most of them don't get discounted. And then they just get ahead of the trade. And if you try to pressure them, they get used on one of the controls, so a lot of fish are another thing, the FP also prescription. And if you try to fight too much, they're getting better trade. And they just have a really good late game. So what do you do? That's where Byzantine gets its powers and good against other camel civs. Beat other civs that have a bonus skill camel. It's really strange. And if you can't beat their camels, you just have helps. So, yeah, it's very strange. Very strange dynamic. But yeah, the cheaper camels ends up being the options. And in a lot of cases, in general, lay out secure camel companies very well. Very nice. Next thing about the Mongols. I bet you expect this to be a very tight game. Unfortunately, the Mongols usually evade their although the early games is safe, they snowball a little bit from that. You can get to the mid game, it's not nearly as fun. Mongols die, remember, biggest weakness of civilizations general, or the biggest power spike, really in power spike. And if you can't survive with it, doesn't matter how good you are, if you're dead and you don't have access to gold, you're just going to be running to SAR and skirmishers that lack upgrades into your opponent's gold units, and that's not going to be good. So, although there are really good stick in a lot of cases, and especially on early game, they just fall off. Yeah, almost, but it's still good. It's still S tier. I've talked about it, like putting it in the ground and burying it. It's okay. It's still an S tier sip. It's actually good, but it's nowhere near hard sip. Even one towards. Next thing, understanding. It's the same sip. It has a low win rate right now. I think it's 45%. Again, I don't care. The sip is objectively a really good option. Again, it's really nice thing to start. Tactic doesn't have night, and it's good to actually use like or it's has certain things that like it just ends up being really awkward, but they didn't have nowhere like anywhere near the weak. It has a lot of options, like SAR love it. Yes, the access to the engineer. SAR but if you're up against violence, you control 9 each and give damage to support violence, so you still have options, but in some cases violence is an imposing threat. But yeah, I think understanding is early to mid to late game for the equip one is that way. And you also have a good setup from start of the game. Late game, you have good options that everything. You just have no difference. Not even sides lacking access to the net. So for that reason, not a nice option on top of that, so really it ends up being nothing like flat. They have a lot of the options. Yeah, we're on the music that get talent. That means there's more better. But yeah, first it's a thing. It's a 4-5 build lead, just out of faster. You're also able to get the next fast as well. The extra issues in the garbage. Tactical doesn't play against Firelancer, which can help, and it also just plays nicely against some frontline like cavalry and less serious bar which is fun. Also, their world are really good now. I've talked about in a couple of games, and like there's a lot of secret buffs with the last tactics that are actually really solid now, and they don't die to monkey cards though. And that's a very legit option. Next up, Portuguese. I talked about the trends, but the same that they were meta last year, meta now, really good gold option, nice early game power spike, various, and a really good late game. Yeah, everything we need. This is the definition of early game sip, or like a double boom pump sip. This is damage. Take the middle, take all the gold. All out gold, 50% discount. How easy is it to sip that you get 50% discount on every gold? It's easy to find a yeah, just like the same sip and great. And it's a very strong option if you like to play with a lot of people. Next thing is plants are very hard to judge. They're originally inserted in OPC factions. Over the looks like 1,000 euro, it's still like 5%. So this thing is OP and overpowered by definition, but I think it's not that good. Just a personal note, that this thing has used to play a defensive mid game and you turtle behind walls. The plants actually use their cavalry units until they die. There's light cabins, more armor, but 2 HP, so 30 scrims hit a light cap. Their step launcher has only 2 armor, and get the plus 2, so it dies to like 30 scrims in one shot, which is ridiculous. So the step lines is not that good. The light cap is like you have a like Havok or something like that.
Zaas, resach b'tzanet.
Yeah, they can try to have heavy in passage, but I don't know if the defense option is a bit hard to get rid of. And the defense block they got the most, so they lost a lot of what made them feel broken in the past. However, they stay strong, the pass is still good. Their units are still really strong. The double attack is pretty good.
Resach b'tzanet. Agmaşönebeli.
They snowball very quickly, which is what I wanted to do again. So they did it, and they did it, but that's quite broken. As the stats for this Yao Dao, they same thing about Unity as well. Very, very strong. High DPS, one of the best units in the game. Definitely something that can be on later. Not to mention that that's really good that you get advantage from the units in the economy, and then you can use Yao Dao and really strong business. Next up we got the BPs. As here served in pretty much every department, I think the Fire Lancer specifically though make it better than the last 7 top tier, which is the Mayans, which I'm actually going to put behind the Vietnamese, specifically because Mayans boost the Vietnamese. Mayans boost the random stuff like they do, they even boost the bot. They suffer from certain bad matchups, like for example,